Hey everybody, I'm Mike at Filmboy24, and today we're going to do sort of a follow-up video on these 50-foot 16mm magazines. So if you aren't familiar with them, these are 16mm 50-foot magazines. They were originally loaded by Kodak with 50 feet of double perf movie film. Essentially, you would buy the magazine, you would put it in your either Cine Kodak Royal or Cine Kodak or a myriad of other 16mm cameras that were designed to hold the 16mm 50-foot magazine. You would shoot your footage, send it back to Kodak, they would pull the film out, develop it, put it on a reel, send the reel back to you. They would keep the magazine, reload it with brand new film, and sell it again. And that was their process. Well, that's long gone, and there's a lot of these magazines left out in the wild. What do you do with them? Well, I'll tell you what you do with them. You scoop them up, you pull the old film out of it because it's probably trash, unless you can find some good old black and white Tri-X or something like that. Then you can probably get some decent results. And you reload it with fresh double perf film. Well, there really isn't that fresh double perf film. What about single perf? Well, we talked about this a little bit in my 16mm part 1 video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And I also talk about it a little bit in my loading double perf film into one of these magazines. That's another video if you haven't seen. You really need to check it out if you want to learn how to load these magazines. A little bit tricky. So could you load single perf film into these magazines? Well, it's not that simple. You see, I was even sort of misled a little bit by them. I was under the impression that there were 2 rows of sprockets in the drive wheel. Now this top part here is the drive wheel. I'm going to show you some close-ups here in just a minute, but this top part's the drive wheel where it actually grabs your film. Well, I was under the impression that it grabbed from the top and the bottom. And when I said maybe we can just file down these sprockets on the top, because you have to have the bottom because that's where your camera out here catches your perforations, so you have to keep the bottom perfs in place. So I figured we could just file the top down, and I did. And this is the one I used. So let me show you some close-ups of exactly what I did and exactly what happened. As you can see, I took a simple file, and since you can't take this roller out, I filed it down 1 sprocket at a time, and there are 6 in total, and it was a very quick process. They filed right off. I then loaded it with a test dummy roll. Wasn't supposed to be a dummy roll. It's nice film. It was Vision 2 250D. I was hoping to be able to expose it. I basically loaded it exactly the way you would load double perf film, except there was nothing catching the film at all on the drive roller part here. And I knew that when I was loading it. In fact, I knew it when I started grinding the teeth off of it. But I figured, what the heck, maybe as the claw on your camera pulls the perfs, it'll somehow magically wind up properly. Well, let me show you what it looked like when I opened it after I would shoot it for 1 cycle, which was about 15 seconds. And then I would start a new cycle for about 15 or 20 seconds. The camera would stop. And here's what it looked like when I opened it up. As you can see, it completely lost the loop here against the edge underneath the drive roller here. I no longer had a nice loose feed on the top here anymore. So essentially everything had just completely tightened up. So what I can tell you in summary is this did not work. If you want to try and grind down the top row of teeth, or the only row of teeth on your main drive roller, I can tell you unequivocally it is not going to work. The only other thing I'm going to try is a recommendation that my pal Alex turned me on to with a photo, and you sort of have to flip the pressure plate gate area around, and you bypass all of this stuff. I'll show you a quick picture, and I believe this picture was taken from an old news article or magazine from some time ago. Have not tried this technique, but I'm going to. And when I do, I will report back and let you know yay or nay. If you like videos like this, punch that like button for me. Subscribe, leave me a comment, and until the very next time you see this ugly mug, I will see you on the very next go around.